back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic/non-classic. This is episode number 340 and Tripleshot. Yes, Tripleshot number 16. I don't do these very often. Okay. First up, and by the way, these are all X-Men trades. These are all Volume 2 of the trades for Uncanny X-Men Superior, Extraordinary X-Men, and All New X-Men Inevitable. But first, talk about Uncanny X-Men, which, by the way, this is all Apocalypse Wars. That's what these trades are. It's a crossover event that has the stuff basically contained each of those books in these three series. Now, the only reason why Marvel did this was because the X-Men Apocalypse film was coming out last year, and also that I think it was the 20th anniversary of Age of Apocalypse. Yeah, it was 20 years. Actually, something like yeah, that's what I think. They did it because, well, the movie was coming out, so they decided, why not do it with the X-Men? Just have something for each Apocalypse. This, of course, has nothing really much to do with Apocalypse. It follows up some stuff from the from Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Men run. Uncanny X-Men, Uncanny X-Force. That's pretty much what this storyline is. It's following up what happened with that. But the thing is, that was concluded back in 2009. The whole thing with the Dark Angel saga, which is referenced in here. There's no mention of the Apocalypse Twins at all. Despite the Rick Remender already did kind of. This is like another follow-up to it. This is basically like because Warren from 2009. No, it was 2011. Yeah, from 2011 up until to this very storyline, Warren had memory problems, where basically he was acting completely different than how he was been written over the years. The reason why that was because Psylocke had injected him with the life seed, which simply got rid of his personality, which allowed him to think he was the successor to Apocalypse himself. Now, in this particular trade, we see the return of the character Genesis. He is the son of Apocalypse. He is the only known child of Apocalypse. And he is, yeah, let me show you this guy. This guy is freaking huge. Yeah, they had this guy in a dome. Because apparently it's part of his mutation in a way. That's the reason why yeah, this is him right here. This is not Genocide. This right here, actually his name is Genocide. I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, he's basically, now his mother was actually the original Famine from the comics because she had an affair. She was the original Famine from Louise Simonson's run from X Factor. Yeah, that's who his mother is. And what I remember from the Dark Angel saga was that when Angel first met him, his mother was worried that that Angel would kill Genocide, and he had no desire to kill him at all because he's the son of Apocalypse. So he's not a threat to him at all. And the reason why she never told Apocalypse about him because she feared that Apocalypse might actually kill him. Plus, in this trailer, we also see the return of Mojo and Calypso. For Calypso, first time she's been seen since the Storm ongoing series. But there is one criticism I've got. Now, the artwork in these issues are not done by Greg Land. He just does the covers. But the artwork is done by Ken Lashley, who is a much better artist than Greg Land. But he draws Calypso very weirdly. Like, every time she's seen, her mouth is open. Either open or basically her mouth never closes the entire time she's seen in this book. I do think that it's definitely a good idea that Marvel switched out Greg Land for Ken Lashley, which brilliant. Now, Ken Lashley does not do all the art. He does all the artwork for these issues except for the going public thing. Now, Greg Land only does the covers. Thank you, God, for that. But yeah, basically what happened with Warren, that little thing is finally concluded with this thing where he basically is merged with another Warren, where they merge into one, and now basically Archangel is trying to adjust to his new surroundings. Also, the Magneto's X-Men team are based out the Savage Land, because apparently Genosha was compromised, even though the place has been ruins for years. And there's this dickish senator. I really don't care for this guy at all. I'm glad the fact he hasn't shown up since then. Like, oh, Magneto's a terrorist or something like that. And him and his bigotry against the mutants, that's basically old school X-Men writing. The bigotry in here was basically so ridiculously stupid. But despite that, this is a marked improvement over the previous volume in one particular way. Greg Land does not do the interior artwork. But we have to suffer through him through the covers, though recently he is back doing the interiors, despite the fact nobody wants to see him do the interiors for this book at all. But despite that, I give this book a 8.5 out of 10. The only reason why I've taken half point off because Greg Land does the covers. That's the only reason why. But yeah, and also Mystique and Phantom X do officially join Magneto's team. But yeah. But this is good. Next is Extraordinary X-Men. Volume 2. Yes, this contains issues... Oh, I almost forgot. This contains Uncanny X-Men number 606 to 610. That's what this one contains. This is Extraordinary X-Men 6 through 12. Now, the first couple issues have nothing to do with Apocalypse at all. It's simply put a follow-up to the first arc. It comes right afterwards and deals with the X-Men going to Weird World to run into Sunfire again, which, by the way, since this two-part wrapped up, he has not been seen since then. And plus, also, Nightcrawler is restored to normal. Okay. Plus, also, he returned of the Sugar Man. Haven't seen him in a while. Yeah. And plus, also, El Sabinor, Apocalypse himself. As for how he came back, never explained. He just somehow is back. Now, what happened in here is follow up in the following issues, which I do praise Jeff Lemire for doing. Oh, also, the Colin Bunstow does the writing for that Kenny X-Men. But the artwork in here. Here's the artist. For the first two issues, it's done by Victor Isabenz. I think it's how you pronounce the person's name. He does issues 6 through 7. 8 through 12 is done by Roberto Ramos. Now, there is a new version of the Horseman Apocalypse, and the team is comprised of, you're not going to believe this, Venom, Moon Knight, and Colossus. Now, as far as I can tell, Colossus, this is the regular 616 version, though apparently this is a year older version of him, plus with versions of Moon Knight, Venom, and of course Deadpool. It's an interesting lineup, I gotta say, yeah. And of course, Apocalypse himself was captured, and the reason why that he was kept alive is so he can reverse what he did to Colossus. And plus, also, there was a group of X-Men who stayed a year in this place, which is Anol, Ernest, Glob, and Martha. Yeah, these 5 stayed in this Omega world for like a whole year. But this is really good. I do praise Jeff Lemire for doing a great job, and I kind of wish he would explain of how the heck Apocalypse came back. The guy has been dead at this point for 6 years, and now he's back. Last time anybody saw him, he was brought back as a child in the first arc for Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force run. And like 3 issues after his return, he gets killed by Phantom X. Yep. As for his resurrection here, never explained. I'm hoping later on Jeff Lemire does explain, or at least somebody explain how the heck Apocalypse came back. Because half the time when he comes back, there is really no explanation of how he does come back at all. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that there was some Iceman tells old man. He does old man jokes. Yeah, don't forget your old adult diapers or your pamper cream. It's kind of funny. And also, I do love how the fact Lemire still he writes the fact, and this is completely true to Forge's character. Storm has moved on from Forge. He has been asked several times, move on from Storm. She's not interested in you anymore, and yet he still has a thing for Storm. After all this time, he still has a thing for Storm. Who knows? But, yeah. Also, Jean puts on her retro costume. Actually, this is kind of like a color scheme similar to her second costume she's not wearing. But, yeah, it was really nice to see the Sugar Man again. It had been a little while since I had seen him. Now, when I read this, basically, when these issues were coming out, it had really been a while. I think the last time I remember him showing up was, if I could, maybe Manifest Destiny. So basically, it had been almost a decade since Sugar Man basically made an appearance in the comics. This is still good. 9 out of 10. Next up is All New X-Men. This is issues 48 through 48 to 52. That's what's in here. Even though it's issue 711 volume 2, I refer to it as volume 1 numbering. Basically, it is what it is. It is 48 to 52. And in this book, you have the character Genesis going back in time to meet his genetic template, a young version of him. And of course, Doctor Strange shows up in here as well, which is really nice. Basically also referencing something that's happening currently in his book right now. Which I'm glad the fact they put that in there. Which, I gotta show this. Although the first couple issues dealt with basically what happened at the end of the previous trade. With Toad kidnapping Cyclops, but he's taken care of right away after a couple issues. I think it's after like one issue. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. Marvel, please keep putting these in there. Because otherwise, though, see, this is good marketing. Right here. See this other box right here? That is what we need to see in these books more often. Because these particular editor boxes, editor notes, not being in the books, that means we have no idea what's going on, and we have no idea where to find it. It's called good marketing. Yeah, this is the first time I've actually seen this in a modern book in a while. I mean, the most recent time I think I've seen it was pages of Black Panther. And I kind of do think Marvel needs to do this more often. Note to all editors, please put editor notes in the books. Otherwise, though, we have no idea what the heck these people are talking about. And plus, also, it promotes other people's books really well. Yeah. And, so, it was kind of a nice way to start with the whole thing with Toad. Basically, of how they're still in Paris, and apparently ID had never, I think it's ID, isn't it? I don't know who says it. Basically, I think it might have been Iceman. Iceman barely remember. I would think. Excuse me. So I don't get how Iceman does not remember Toad, because these X-Men were brought back in time after the events of issue 8 of the Uncanny X-Men series that came back in the 60s. That's basically where they were brought from. And it's nice the fact that the whole thing with Toad only lasted one issue. It's kind of interesting, though. Of course, they do reference the whole Blob thing from the previous arc, which is really nice. They reference that. But I kind of wish they put an editor's note in there of what the heck they're talking about. There's one of them, so I'm happy for that, but they need to put a little bit more in here so we have a pretty good idea what they're talking about. I mean, yeah, if you're just reading this series, you have a pretty good idea what they're talking about, but basically, if you're somebody who is new to the series and has no idea what people are talking about, you need to put the others note in there. But, yeah. So basically, now this is still the same creative team, and one thing I'm glad though about this is the fact that the series has ceased the whole thing of coming out twice a month. It has since come out once a month. They did it after the first arc. They wanted to come out twice a month in a way. But I think after issue 6, they finally listened to some of the complaints about this book and several other books coming out twice a month. So currently, there's only about 3 books, as far as I can tell, come out twice a month. That's Deadpool and the 2 Captain America books. That's really it. But this is still good. Plus, also, it still kind of continues the whole thing of, oh, I almost forgot to mention, Geek Gladiator shows up in here too. First time I've seen him in a while. Which kind of begs the question, where the heck is Warbird? That also is a really good question as well. I can't think of anybody else who shows up in here aside from, the whole point in here is celebrate Genesis Evan's birthday. Yeah. So basically, the way it looks at the first couple issues, just a couple standalones, and we have this birthday thing. I'm trying to think, who else shows up in here? We also have Kid Brood shows up in here as well. Of course, X-23. Yeah, we have a few characters here and there. I think I do remember this character. It's the one that has blue skin. I don't think it's Husk. I don't really remember who this one is. Mainly because it's been a while since I've seen some of these characters. But I do recognize Kid Brood. It's nice to see him. He's the only Brood I've seen actually speak English. But, yeah. And I should also point out X-23 does jack squat in here at all. It seems like after they apparently had it where Angel and X-23 broke up, which currently they're back together, by the way. But, yeah, they're apparently not talking to each other, and apparently Dennis Hopeless didn't feel like giving X-23 any dialogue in here. But, yeah, still good. 9 out of 10. Highly recommend it. Alright, that's it for this episode. Next episode is episode 341. And double shot, I think it's 269. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.